Hello everyone, welcome to Lines and Branches of Metro North Railroad, Episode 3, the New Haven Line. Today we'll be talking about the New Haven Line. Enjoy. The New Haven Line is a train line that runs from Grand Central Station in New York City all the way up to New Haven State Street in Connecticut. This train line operates in two states, New York and Connecticut. Now, this is the only Metro North train line that runs into different states, as the Hudson line only runs in New York and the Harlem line only runs in New Jersey. Not New Jersey, New York as well. But the New Haven line runs in both the state of New York and the state of Connecticut, which is why it's half owned by CDOT. As you can see here, the Pascagoula Valley Line, Port Jervis Line, both go into New Jersey and New York as well, but they're mostly just NJ Transit, and they're west of Hudson. So yes, the New Haven Line is the only east of Hudson train line that runs to two different states. But anyways, let's talk more about the line. Station stops on this line are Grand Central Terminal, Harlem 125th Street, Fordham, Mount Vernon East, Pelham, New Rochelle, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Harrison, Rye, Port Chester, and then into Connecticut, Greenwich, Greenwich, Coscob, Riverside, Old Greenwich, Stamford, Norriton Heights, Darien, Rowayton, South Norwalk, East Norwalk, Westport, Greens Farms, Southport, Fairfield Metro, Bridgeport, Stratford, Milford, West Haven, New Haven Union Station. So yes, these are all the stops on the line. Now there are two trains that run on this line. What I mean is, basically there's a local and express. The local operates from Grand Central Terminal all the way to Stamford, making all stops, while the express runs from Grand Central Terminal all the way to New Haven, making limited stops along the route, or express stops. The stops that the local makes are Grand Central Terminal, Harlem 125th Street, Fordham, Mount Vernon East, Pelham, New Rochelle, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Harrison, Rye, Port Chester, Greenwich, Coscob, Riverside, Old Greenwich, and Stamford. So yes, these are the local stops, as it ends in Stamford. Then the express has less stops. The stops it makes are Grand Central, Harlem 125th Street. Then it goes all the way non-stop to Stamford. Then from there, making stops at Norriton Heights, Darien, Rowayton, South Norwalk, East Norwalk, Westport, Greens Farms, Southport, Fairfield Metro, Bridgeport, Stratford, Milford, West Haven, and New Haven. So yes, these are all the stops that Express makes. So basically it runs Express non-stop all the way to Stamford. Then from Stamford to New Haven, it's all local. Now there also is a limited express which is basically the same thing as the express. But after Stamford, it does skip a few more stops than the express normally does. Now as you can see, there are 3 more lines or branches that go up here, and these are separate from the New Haven line. This one here is the New Canaan branch, this is the Danbury branch here, and the Waterbury branch. Now these branches technically are part of the New Haven line. Now I will talk more about these little branches in the next episode, which I'll talk about the New Canaan, then Danbury, then Waterbury. But for now we'll only talk about the New Haven line. So yeah. The New Haven line uses M8 EMU train cars. These M8 EMUs are electric that run on overhead wire and third rail. So yeah, they can run on both. Now, because Grand Central doesn't have overhead wire, it means that the M8s have to run via third rail. So yeah, they run via third rail all the way till Pelham. And from Pelham, they run on overhead wire for the rest of the route. So yeah. And it's very cool if you're a rail fan at Pelham because you can see the overhead wire changing. Now, the reason why the M8s have overhead wire is because this is the only Metro North line that goes on the Northeast Corridor, which goes all the way till New Haven. Now, the Northeast Corridor runs from Washington, D.C. all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts, which stops in the heart of New York City and continues going up through Connecticut and more. So yeah, Amtrak connects with this line at New Rochelle, and from New Rochelle, Amtrak continues going along this line. Amtrak only makes a few stops along the New Haven line. It makes stops at New Rochelle, Stamford, Bridgeport, and New Haven. So yes, these are the only stops that Amtrak makes along the route. Now, in the future, probably like 10 years from now or so, they have been talking about extending the New Haven line to Penn Station, which would go via Amtrak trackage on the Hellgate Bridge all the way to New York Penn Station, which in my opinion will be really cool, and they will have stops here. So yeah, that would be really cool, but it probably won't come for like another decade or so. So yeah, don't expect it to come anytime soon. But anyways, now they used to have, so yeah, as you can see here is a picture of M8s with overhead wires, as this is probably somewhere north of Pelham. As you can see there, it's Port Chester, which is right by New York, Connecticut border in New York. Then here you can see that the overhead wires are down and it's running on third rail. Now here is Harlem 125th Street in the elevated area. Now they used to have M2, M4/M6 EMUs, but unfortunately they retired, which were replaced by these M8s. So as you can see, you probably think it looks identical to M1 and M3 EMUs. So yeah, here is an M3 EMU. It looks very similar to this one. This one's basically an M3, but with overhead wire and this thing up on the top here. I know what it is, but I forgot for now. But yeah, here's an MNRR M3. Now, EMUs are not the only trains that run on this line. Once in a while, you actually will get a diesel P32 with shoreliners operating on this line. Yes, it can either operate to Stamford or New Haven, most of the time to New Haven, which will basically be a normal service on the New Haven line. Now, this happens on rare occasion, probably like if the electrification went off or stuff like that. Or I think that diesel also operates on this line late at night. So yeah. Now, every day there actually is a diesel train on the line, which is the Danbury branch. The Danbury branch runs from South Norwalk all the way to Danbury, which it runs in Connecticut. But every day except weekends, there is always one train heading to Grand Central and one train heading from Grand Central back to Danbury. So yes, this uses P32 ACDMs with shoreliners. Other than that, the Danbury branch operates from South Norwalk to Danbury, normally using BL20 locomotives or something like that. But the Danbury branch does go to the Grand Central Terminal, going along the Grand Central's terminal. So yeah, I hope all of you enjoyed this video, and yeah, goodbye everyone. Make sure to subscribe. Bye.